Hello friends, happy Thursday. My name's Janna and thank you for stopping by my channel today. If you are catching this live, I'm glad you're here. And if you are catching the replay, that's great. Okay, so today I am playing with Stampin' Up! Products and I am using the Sunset Coast bundle. When you bundle stamps and dies together, if they are current ones, not like past ones, you can't always bundle products together, but these you can. Anyway, if you bundle them together, you save 10% when you order. This is the stamp set, so it's got lots of fun, or I should say nice sentiments in it. It's got like a little cave, rock cave formation here, some really cute little sailboats, and then a sunrise or sunset scene. It would be sunset because the sun sets over the ocean there usually. And some clouds. And then these are the dies, so some really fun dies. One of them's not in here because I've got it right here. This is the one I'm going to be playing with today with the lighthouse. I'm also going to use the net and these two little ones here. And then also I am using this fun paper which goes along with it great. This is Scenic Coast Specialty Designer paper. So I want to pick out a piece of this, and the reason why it's specialty designer paper is because, well, let me show you the backs real quick. I'm just going to flip through the backs. So the backs are really pretty, but the fronts have this, hopefully the light's picking it up, how it has this sort of sheen on the water so that it reflects the sun. So you get several pieces of each design of paper. So I'm thinking I might want to do that one. I'm just trying to decide here which piece I want. That goes this way. And in my practice card, I used that piece, so I'm not going to pick that piece. There's that one. Ooh, that's pretty too. And then this one. So some really beautiful sky and water scenes. So that one's really pretty. I think I'm going to do this one. I really like the back of that too. Get these in here so I don't have them go spilling all over. Okay, so I just need to trim this down a little bit to fit the front of the card. So I'm doing a standard, what our typical standard size card is, 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And I'm not going to trim too much on this side because I want the sun more over to the left of the card there. So I might just trim maybe 1/4 of an inch and then we'll go from there. And let's see what happens if I put this at 4 1/4. I think that now, what's that take us to? Let's do 4 1/2. And then I'll take another 1/4 of an inch off the other. Okay. And then we just need to trim a little bit. I'm going to trim it off the bottom here. So I just need to go to, oh wait, did I make this 4? No, I made it 4 1/4. So I want to make it 4. Yes, I need to make it 4. Darn it. Okay. So I'm going to have a bunch of skinny strips left over instead of a bigger piece. So I'm just cutting this down so that it is 4 by 5 1/4. So that's what we're ending up with. This is how much I took off the bottom. So I've got a bunch of scraps here that I can play with. All right, so there's that. And then I have got a piece of black here that I'm going to be doing this silhouette with. And I have a circle die here from my stash of dies. So I needed a circle that was a little bit bigger than this circle. And then I'm just going to position it in here so we've got a fairly even border. That looks pretty decent to me. So let me just tape that in place, and I think I better grab me another piece of tape. If you're watching live, please, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to pop your question into the chat. Okay, so we've got our dies on there like that. I'm going to run this through my machine real quick. And I did run it forward and I ran it back through again just because some of the areas in the die are a little bit intricate and I wanted to make sure that I got it all cut. So you get a scrappy piece like this that you can, there's a good amount of cardstock there. I like to save my scraps. And then you just want to be careful when you pull it off. And there's some pieces still in there that I'm going to want to pop out. So we'll just get those out. And there we have that. Okay. So now then, I've got another scrappy piece of black in here, which is actually that piece, like this one that I popped out. And I'm going to cut out the seagulls. So I'll grab those out. And I want to cut these seashells out, and I like that they're all together. So you only have to run your die through once. So I've got that for that. And then I also want to cut out the net. So I may as well do all my cutting here at one time. Oh, good, that fits on there. All right, let me cut these out, and I will be right back. Okay, I think we're all set here. So there's our seashells. And I cut them out of some like vanilla colored cardstock. And we've got some seagulls. And fishing net here. Okay, do I need to run this through again? I think I do. It looks like it didn't quite get in the corner there, so let me just do that real quick. I think we're good now, and I dropped it so a bunch of the pieces fell out already. If you have one of these with a roller on it, it sure makes fast work of getting a bunch of little pieces out. So there's that. And then I'm actually going to cut my net into 2 pieces. So I'm just going to see how there's just like pieces of it sticking out. I'm going to cut it kind of in a way that will do that. Like in halfway through the string there, or rope, whatever. Guess it would be rope. So there, now we have 2 chunks of net. Okie dokie. Oh, I have one more little thing I want to cut out. Well, that can wait a little bit. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is put some liquid glue on the back of this. And I don't want, uh-oh, I see some pieces that I didn't get popped out there. 2 little pieces. Anyway, I don't want this getting popped up on the front of the card and torn or anything, so I want to make sure that I get glue on it. so that it will lay down nice and flat. Doesn't take much. And then we'll just go all around the outside of the frame here. And I want this sunset positioned right about like that. Try to get my lighthouse so it's straight up and down here. That looks good, I think. I want it right about there. Now I used a straight edge circle to create my frame, but you know, I've also got these deckled edge dies, which would be kind of fun for the outside edge of this. You can use whatever you have. Okay, so now I don't really like the, you know, this is like rock, or it could have moss growing on it, or, you know, but most likely it's rock or grass. But since it's kind of a sunset-y picture, what I'm going to do is I just grabbed my dark mossy meadow Stamp and Blend marker, and just to make that so it's not the watercolors, I'm going to just go in there and color it in. I didn't want it black. If I wanted it black, I could have just left the little pieces in there or put them back in like a puzzle. But I didn't really want to do that. I wanted it to be a different color, just not black. So it's going to pick up the difference, the lighter and darker shades in there, and give it a little bit of interest through the green, dark green color here. I can always go back and do a second coat, which I probably will in some of these more orange areas. It's not that big of a deal here. I'm liking how that's looking right now. We'll see if I go back in and add any more color. And then for the windows up here, this area up here, I'm leaving it as it is. For these, the door and windows, let me use the other point here. This is dark gray granite that I'm just filling in here for these windows and the door. And those up there can be see-through. Okay, so there's that. And let me see. I'll just go over these a little bit here with another layer of color. Again, it's not that big of a deal. Okay, so there's that. I think I'll go ahead and put it on the front of my card base. I've just got a basic black card base here that measures 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And that is going to pop right onto the front of it. This card turns out so pretty, and it's actually super easy. It did take me a minute to figure out how to do the whole frame part. I spotted a card similar to it on, I think it was Pinterest. And yeah, it took me a minute to figure out how this was done, because I thought this was cut out, this part here. And you don't cut your pattern paper at all, other than your outside border edges. But yeah, that's not the way I did it to begin with. And I had to do a little puzzle piecing to fix my card. Okay, so there's that. Now then, I think I'll go ahead next and color my seashells. So it cuts out these two seashells and a starfish here. So let's just do the starfish first. I'm using crushed curry for the starfish, and I did look at colors on the back of the paper pad just to see what all colors were in there. So I am going to just color up with using finger daubers. That way you can get the intensity of the color just how you want it. And then I want to come back over the little arms there and make them a little bit darker. Okay, so there's our starfish. And then this one here, I was going to do Highland Heather. There is some purple in there. I think it'll pick up the purple in the sky. So we'll just go ahead with the Highland Heather, which is this color. Since these are just paper seashells, you can make them whatever color you want. They aren't the real deal. So that's going to be that seashell. And then the other one, I'm going to use Balmy Blue, which is this color. And typically these seashells here are kind of a creamy white color with like some rusty brown stripes across them. But in this case, ours is going to be blue. Okay. So there's our seashells. All right, so now then, Remember all those strips I cut off of the paper? Let me find one here. That one's kind of pretty. And we'll just take that down the side there for the inside of our card. I better clean that up where it went over the edge a little bit, because otherwise when the card gets closed it might be sticking to it, and we don't want that. So I've got one of these little adhesive erasers here. Can just pick that up. And is there any more? I'm not seeing any. Okay, so this can get put on the inside. I'm not going to stamp anything on the inside of it. I usually save that. It just depends on what kind of card I'm doing, but I usually save that until I get ready to send it. Christmas cards and a lot of times birthday cards, I go ahead and stamp something on the inside, but what did I do there? Oh, maybe there was a little piece of adhesive on there still. I can see it now, so I will go back and grab that. It's easier to get it off before you put it down, but I didn't, so okay, I think we're good. So that's the inside until something gets stamped there. All right, let's finish this up. Oh, so I've got this, and where is I am using this set, which is called So Sentimental. And I'm going to use Sending Healing Hugs. So I'm sure this is retired. You may have it in your stash. A lot of times if you fall in love with something that's retired, if you go on to eBay or somewhere like that, you can find it. And I even do that sometimes when I find a stamp set or something that I just love. It's like, let me see if I can find that. A lot of times I do. Okay, so there it is there. I'm just using my Misty here so that I can ink it up more than once if necessary. I'm using Memento Tuxedo Black. Sending Healing Hugs. And I do want to ink it again. we go. I like it. I really like this stamp set for the sentiments that's in it, but also it has this coordinating die set that's got great dies. I love these right here. But these cut out the different shapes that these greetings or sentiments are in. So, plus you can layer them up if you want. Like if you, I'm going to use this one to cut that out, but then if I wanted another color behind it, you know, I could use all those to layer it up if I chose to. In this case, I don't need to. Okay, so let me get that cut out real quick. Putting my dies over here on my little holder that my friend made for me so that I don't lose them. Okay, so there is how that turned out. So let's put the seagulls on. I'm going to start with the biggest one here. Trying not to drop it. Okay. So we're going to put this one right up here. This one we're going to pop down into here. And these seagulls are all flying the same direction. This one's gonna, I'll just put this one right here. He's flying up in the air a little bit more. Okay, so there's those. Let me get the caps back on these so I don't lose them. All right, so now then, I can glue my little pieces of netting on. So I just need to dab it around here and there. could have probably cut this out, used some double-sided adhesive on my cardstock before I cut it out, and that would make it quicker, but that's okay. All right, so we're going to put a chunk of it there. Have I mentioned how much I like my glue press? I know I have. I'm just being sarcastic. I really do like it. Wasn't sure when it first came out if it was something I wanted or I needed or whatever, but I really do love it. Okay. So maybe we'll put the bigger chunk of it like that. Okay, and then the greeting here, I'm gonna pop that up. Oh, I'm using border pieces. Can't let them go to waste. And we'll put one right in the middle. All right, so let's just pop this here. Let me make my card straight so I can hopefully get my greeting straight here. Okay, so there's that, and then our little seashells and starfish. Let me get some glue on this one. And we're just going to tuck this one right like that. And this one, I want to put it right under here. There we go. And I just really don't think that this card needs any further embellishing. So pretty and so easy, really. So quick and easy. And it just turns out beautiful, I think. So here's the first one I made, and I will tell you the boo-boo that I made on it. But so that's that other paper, one of the other ones that's in there. So I thought that I had to cut the background paper out, so I did. And so then I had to go back and I didn't want to ruin it. I'm weird like that. So I pieced all those little tiny windows back in, all of that, all of this that got cut out. I pieced it back in. Seriously, I did. Anyway, so there are those ready to go. And I just think they turn out so pretty. And let me show you the dies again, and the stamps that go with that set, because so here's the other dies that we didn't use. This sailboat one, that would be super pretty on this paper that we use today, I think. And there's a small sailboat that you can stamp. I think it cuts, I don't know, maybe it cuts that one out. It cuts one of those out, this die. Oh, well, there's a die for each of them. So you could make a whole little scene with sailboats in the distant, in the distance, maybe at the horizon line, and have that one up closer if you wanted all three on there. But yeah, and then this in the background of some cards that I've seen. And you could use this for lots of things more than just with this particular set. And then there's the little fence that's really cute. So some fun things to play with in that set. All right, story time. Hi, Nancy. Okay, I think we can finish this up today. Yeah, there's not too many more pages. The real issue in life is not how many blessings we have, but what we do with our blessings. Some people have many blessings and hoard them. Some have few and give everything away. The purpose of life is to listen to yourself, to your neighbor, to your world, and to God, and when the time comes, to respond in as helpful a way as you can find, from within and without. And by the way, this is The World According to Mr. Rogers, Important Things to Remember. I didn't say the title of it. Please think of the children first. If you have ever anything to do with their entertainment, their food, their toys, their custody, their day or night care, their health care, their education, listen to the children. Learn about them. Learn from them. Think of the children first. One of the greatest dignities of humankind is that each successive generation is invested in the welfare of each new generation. More and more, I've come to understand that listening is one of the most important things we can do for one another. Whether the other be an adult or a child, our engagement in listening to who that person is can often be our greatest gift. Whether that person is speaking or playing or dancing, building or singing or painting, if we care, we can listen. Peace means far more than the opposite of war. Beside my chair is a saying in French. It inspires me every day. It's a sentence from Saint Exupéry's, I know I didn't say that right, The Little Prince, and it reads, I'm not even going to try that, but what it means is what is essential is invisible to the eyes. The closer we get to know the truth of that sentence, the closer I feel we get to wisdom. That which has real value in life in any millennium is very simple, very deep, and very simple. It happens inside of us, in the essential, invisible part of us, and that is what allows everyone to be a potential neighbor. The urge to make and build seems to be an almost universal human characteristic. It goes way beyond meeting our need for survival and seems to be the expression of some deep-rooted part of being human. but we don't have to understand all of someone else's creative efforts. What's important is that we communicate our respect for their attempts to express what's inside themselves. As different as we are from one another, as unique as each one of us is, we are much more the same than we are different. That may be the most essential message of all as we help our children grow toward being caring, compassionate, and charitable adults. We are almost done, people. Imagine what our real neighborhoods would be like if each of us offered, as a matter of course, just one kind word to another person. There have been so many stories about the lack of courtesy, the impatience of today's world, road rage, and even restaurant rage. Sometimes all it takes is one kind word to nourish another person. Think of the ripple effect that can be created when we nourish someone. One kind, empathetic word has a wonderful way of turning into many. When I was a boy and I would see scary things in the news, my mother would say to me, "Look for the helpers." I remember Mr. Rogers telling this story. You will always find people who are helping. To this day, especially in times of disaster, I remember my mother's words, and I'm always comforted by realizing that there are still so many helpers, so many caring people in this world. You don't ever have to do anything sensational for people to love you. When I say it's you I like, I'm talking about that part of you that knows that life is far more than anything you can ever see or hear or touch. That deep part of you that allows you to stand for those things without which humankind cannot survive. Love that conquers hate, peace that rises triumphant over war, and justice that proves more powerful than greed. So, in all that you do in all of your life, I wish you the strength and the grace to make those choices which will allow you and your neighbor to become the best of whoever you are. I consider that what I do through Mr. Rogers' neighborhood is my ministry. A ministry doesn't have to be only through a church or even through an ordination, and I think we all can minister to others in this world by being compassionate and caring. I hope you will feel good enough about yourselves that you will want to minister to others and that you will find your own unique ways to do that. Well, thank you, Mr. Rogers, for all your words of wisdom. That was a fun little book. Very cute. All right, thanks so much for being here with me, you guys. I hope you enjoyed seeing this silhouette card and this silhouette card and learning from my mistakes, because I usually make them and I like to share what I did wrong so you don't make the same mistake that I did. And I hope you have a fabulous weekend ahead, and I will just see you in my next video. Take care. Happy crafting. Bye-bye.